Crazy storm coming from the north.
Good evening, sports fans. Monday night sports Hounds are live. Another remote broadcast in our quarantine studios here on StreamYard. I'm Rob Brinkman. He's Brad Ryer. We have legendary hockey player, legendary flyer, Mr. Brian Propp joining us tonight. But first, let's tell you who makes the Sports Hounds and all of our shows here on A2D Radio possible. Check out our doc, Paul Vidal, at Specialized Physical Therapy, LLC. 3 locations in Burlington, Cherry Hill, and Princeton. He's our doc. Make them yours, too. Also, check out our gutter guys at Ambuck Services. They are the gutter and deck experts of South Jersey. Give them the call at 856-879-5530. We are streaming live on Facebook, Periscope, YouTube, Instagram. You miss anything on ATD Radio, download us in podcast form, Spreaker, Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, iHeartRadio. The takeover is real. The takeover is everywhere. A2D Radio is the best in the business. We're the fastest growing media company in the country. As I mentioned before, Mr. Brian Propp joining us tonight, joining our long array of guests during this quarantine, keeping us sane with no sports. Brian, how you doing tonight?
Doing well. Guffaw.
Hello, Brian.
Brian, obviously,
Hi, Kevin.
You're still here. The first thing that jumps out to me about, you're still here. You're a resident of Cinnaminson, New Jersey. After all the places you've played, Boston, Hartford, WHL, you've decided to make your home here in Philadelphia. And you're not the only one. It seems like the Flyers alumni and the organization have a really tight-knit community amongst themselves. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, because I grew up in Canada when I was young. We only had 300 people in the town. I had 2 brothers and 2 sisters. My dad was a Lutheran minister, and so we had our own hockey team. But at that time, we just played for fun, and we made sure that we didn't know what was going on. And so when I got drafted to the Flyers, it changed after that because I didn't know what I was going to do. I could have been an accountant or something like that, but thankfully the Flyers drafted me, and I played for a lot of years. But our Flyers alumni has done really well. We know a lot of people. I did the radio for 9 years. I've been on their board for the last 4 years, and I'm the ambassador for the Flyers at every home game, and it's good for me to give back for the Flyers. I love them.
That's awesome. Hey, Brian, want to start with your first season in the NHL, because that was quite a humdinger of a season. You score 34 goals. Your team goes on a remarkable unbeaten streak. I mean, what was it, like 38, 39 games?
35, actually.
35. Okay, I'm sorry. I just remember, listen, I'm not a Flyer fan, so it was –
He's a Ranger fan.
Yeah.
It was really torturous to watch that winning streak, but that was a terrific, terrific team. I mean, you score 34 goals, and then you get to the Stanley Cup Finals. What was that like? I mean, did you think this was going to happen every year? Because it's kind of like a Dan Marino thing.
Well, let's back up a little bit. So when I was 15, I was an MVP of the Melville Millionaires when I was 15. I set the records at that time. And then I played 3 years at Brandon Wheat Kings. We didn't lose that much. My last season in Brandon, I won the MVP of the whole league, and then I won the scoring a couple times. And so I was used to winning. We only lost 5 games out of 72 in my last season, so I was used to winning a lot. And so when I came to the Flyers, I started to play with Bob Clark and Reggie Leach my first 20 games, and I scored the game winner. My first goal was against Bill Smith and the Islanders.
Very good.
And then we lost 9-2. So I was thinking, what's it going to be like? Is this going to be in the NHL? It's going to be like that. You lose and win, but then we went 35 without a loss, which is really amazing. At that time, we had. Pat Quinn was a coach, and we had good players. We had 4 lines that were balanced, and that year we had Pete Peters and Phil Neal that were. Pete was a rookie, and but we just kept going, and so 35 without a loss is pretty amazing, and I love being a part of that.
from what I remember about that team, that was one of the best forechecking teams I can ever remember seeing. I mean, you guys scored more goals with that forecheck by making the defense make mistakes and just getting easy goals. It was amazing. I mean, you were a real well coached team. I mean, that just showed what a good coach team was and what kind of players you guys were. Because forechecking is a lost art now in the NHL, I think.
Yeah, it was, but Bobby Clark, he's a great leader, and so he taught me at the start where to go, and but I worked in Brandon. I was the same. Like I practiced hard, like Bobby Clark did. He was the first on the ice, and last one to leave, and I Malin, I kind of took after him. I was really quiet my first couple of years in the league, so like I didn't have to say much. But after time, I became a little better, and the Flyers, like they had really tough. They had tough players too, like Ben Wilson and Glenn Cochran, and so the Rangers, you were afraid of us.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what, Ben Wilson, of all the tough guys you guys ever had on the team, I thought Ben Wilson was the toughest guy you guys ever had. I mean,
yeah.
Just watching him and the way he really, really knew how to fight. He could change. He would change from right hand to left hand. I mean, I remember he took down Gillies, and I mean that's not so many guys did that. Now Gillies got him back when he got traded to Chicago, but still, he still took him apart pretty good the first fight.
Yeah, well, that's why the Flyers did so well, because we intimidated all the teams. So that's why the spectrum was tough to play at, and with the players that we had that won the Stanley Cups in 74 and 75. I got drafted 5 years later, but we had good teams, and so I was good to be a part of them. Like I was a left winger, that year. Like I was a rookie with Pete Peters, and had 75 points my first year. And then unfortunately we lost in the sixth game, but against the Islanders. But it was a good start for me.
I want to get to that series for a minute because Game 6, okay. The goal Nystrom scored, and I think a lot of people believe that play was offside. The game-winning goal in overtime. I mean,
it wasn't that one. It was
admitted to it. So, I mean, what was your take, and what was the take of the team when they really got to know that was an offside play? Because Leon Stickle did admit it after the game that they screwed up the call.
First of all, I think the first goal was on a high stip goal.
It was the second time it happened.
Peters. And then the second goal was offside by 3 feet, and I was right there with Sutter. And so, like, I knew it was over, but I should have just stayed that I was skated and not let up. But and then I think everyone was surprised that it wasn't whistled down. But and then I think for the overtime game it was okay. I mean, that was But at that time, I just remember just with everybody saying, hey, listen, it's the biggest goal of your career. If you score that, force a Game 7, and you probably win the Stanley Cup there. So I was trying to score, to get the Game 7.
Yeah, I think that at that point, had you guys been able to win that game, I think you would have won Game 7. Keep in mind, for some of you guys who don't remember back then, the Islanders had continuously lost in the playoffs. They had all these great teams and kept giving it up in the playoffs year after year after year. So you get the feeling, had the Flyers had that call been the kind of call that it was supposed to be, and it was offside, and you guys could have pulled out that game, I think you guys could have won, and maybe it would have prevented their dynasty, because maybe it would have forced some changes on that team. I mean, is that a fair comment?
Well, it could have, but they were getting so good. I mean, and look what they did after that. Like they won 4 years in a row. But that year, the conferences were different because it was number 1 against number 16. That's why we played against the Islanders in the finals. And I think after that, it changed. The concerts has changed a little bit different. So it was tougher to play against us and beat them at the start, because we had all the best players on the East. And then like Edmonton and those teams could, just went through everybody easily. But it was really tough on the conferences that we played against.
And you played Edmonton in the first round that year in the playoffs. So you got to see Gretzky in the beginning. Okay, I mean, could you tell that first season how good he was going to be, or did it just be surprising that he developed like that?
No, he was always the awesome player. Like, we didn't play against him that much, but he was way better than like the players that were coming out of the league. And so he stated, showed it, because he was magnificent. Plus, I like his leadership. Like he was young, but he had to deal with the press all the time. It's sort of like a Crosman that did when he moved in. And those players kind of learn from at the start. They have to be better at the start, and that's why some of these players have won some Stanley Cups.
Now, you were actually teammates with Wayne Gretzky for a brief minute on the 1987 Canada Cup team that won the gold medal. Gretzky, Lemieux, Messier, Ray Bourque, Paul Coffey, maybe one of the greatest hockey teams ever assembled, albeit in international play. Talk about your experience playing with all those star-studded Hall of Famers in that particular tournament.
Yeah, so that was in 1987, and that was the year. So let's just back up a couple of years, because I was in the finals against Edmonton in 85 and 87. And then eventually, because in 85, like with Pelle Lindbergh dying after the season, that it really made a difference with us. But we had 4 rookies like Tocchet, Zezel, Mellanby, and Smith that they learned from that. But it was tough at that time to deal with the death. And then we had to rebuild. We thought we had a goalie for a lifetime that could win us a couple Stanley Cups. And then 87, Hextall came in, and he did an unbelievable job his first season. And when we were beat up, and we like Tim Kerr was hurt, and Mark Howe was hurt, and Poulin was hurt, and Ilka was hurt. So for everybody that in Philadelphia knows like how good we were to force a Game 7, I think they appreciate that. And then that year, after the season in 87, like the Canada Cup, the comp was there like in August. So we had 5 guys with the Flyers trying out. Hextall was playing, Doug Crossman, Tocchet, and Brad McCrimmon. And so, and at that time, I was in 3 Stanley Cup finals last year, like the year before. In 87, I had 92. No, I still probably have a Frazier, so I get mixed up with numbers, but 28 points in 26 games. And so that's why I was the oldest player in the league, in 87 for the Canada Cup. But I, played against Lemieux and Gretzky for a lot of years. And so they knew how I was. Keenan was the coach. Bob Clark was the GM. So they picked the right people. So of course it was unbelievable, the players that were still playing, but you still had to make sure that you had the right mix of players there with character. And so that year in 87, to going into the finals, a 3-game series, 6-5, 6-5, and 6-5 was pretty amazing. I know that when we lost the first game, I just didn't want to lose. And then second game was double overtime when I played with Gretzky and Lemieux. I passed it to Lemieux, who got the game winner, and then Game 3 talks for itself for the win in a couple minutes left of the third period. But I'll never forget that, winning the Canada Cup because it's for your company, your country, and I've also played a couple of years at the World Championship in 82 and 83. So I was experienced with that, but that series is probably known as one of the best series ever.
Yeah, that was.
Who was better, Gretzky or Lemieux?
At that time, they were both pretty even, but but Gretzky passed a little bit more on Lemieux. Like he was just younger, but he probably scored a lot more. But they were both pretty amazing. Like I told these guys, I played on the line most of the tournament, and then mixed around with other lines with Keenan, with Sutter and Tocchet. And so it was. I told these two guys, "Hey, listen, don't worry about it. I'll play defense. You guys get the puck to me, and we'll be okay."
You seem to have a knack for you went to the Stanley Cup Finals 5 times. You obviously went on a gold medal with Team Canada. You seem to have a knack for raising your game at the highest level in the playoffs, scoring a goal in your first game ever with the Flyers. Is that something that can be developed, do you think, or did you have that knack for doing that all through your junior career and minor leagues? Like that?
Junior was pretty easy because I had 511 points in my 3-year season right there, and so but I was one of the top players in the Western Hockey League at that time. I played with Brad McCrimmon and Ray Allison, and I still talk with Ray every once in a while because we worked together. I just saw him I just moved to Haddonfield, and so there's a couple of players there like Kimmo Timonen and Hartnell and Couturier are right there, right where I live. And so, it's good to talk with them. I see them all the time, and you give back. But I think for me, it was so exciting, to just get in the NHL. Like I knew I was going to be a good player, but I was really quiet at the start. Like I didn't talk much. And so I didn't, it took me a long time to get better. And then, with Steve Rosenberg, the psychologist, he worked with our team. He talked with us in '81, and from that time on, I learned how to be much better with relaxing and using your brain, and then with Pat Crocher also workout. Like I didn't work out that much at that time, so he probably gave me more time to work up, get further my career. But it was it was a little easier after my 3rd year, where I learned, I guess, in the playoffs in the second and third years, I got roasted for not scoring much against the Rangers, even though the goalies played really well. I knew I was playing well, but I knew that I had to pick up my game in the playoffs where it really counts.
Yeah, I do remember the 85-86 year, but we won't digress to that. I wanted to ask you, Brian, about the pregame incident with Montreal, and what was the history behind it, and what made it what happened? I mean, that was crazy. Lemieux shot the puck in the net. I remember that, and then all of a sudden, everybody came out. Everybody came out. They were fighting for a good 10-15 minutes.
Well, that was Ed Hospodar and Chico kind of they wanted to make them miss the net because that was their ritual, and so then a bunch of the guys just kind of went in the dressing room because at that year, you dressed more players in the playoffs. Like you probably have 22 players. So some of these guys didn't even play, but were on the roster. And so it just really broke up, and then it became a big fight. And thankfully, we kicked their ass. And but it was. I mean, it was unbelievable because the linesmen and refs weren't on there yet because it took them a long time. And then when it came on, it was just crazy because Dave Crossman, he had flip flops on, and also Keenan didn't let Hextall on the ice because he was if he got hurt, we didn't know what was going to happen after that. But it was. It was kind of exciting now because all the things that we've done over the years with the tough guys and the teams that we've got, everyone likes a good story.
That was a dirty team, though, the Montreal team that year. They had a lot of dirty players on their team. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, Claude Lemieux, you see his honestly as a Ranger fan, especially when he's with the Devils. I mean, you saw his face and you just wanted to punch him. That's how much I couldn't stand that guy. I mean, did Were the Flyers kind of like that with him? Because there's some guys that you just can't stand.
Well, Nyland was there too, and Montreal had a big team, and they had tough players at that time too. So yeah, but it was we made a good match because we were kind of played the same way, and in the playoffs, especially in Canada, in Montreal, I loved when I played in Montreal. It was my favorite rink to play in because all of their Stanley Cup battles, made you play a little bit better. But and in Canada, it's a little different than the U.S. They love their teams, and there's always good rivalries.
Yeah, Montreal fans were very tough on their own team, though. If you got ahead of them early, they were back then. They were pretty brutal to their own teams. I mean, I remember how they used to.
Flyers fans are like that too.
Oh no, not like Montreal. Montreal, I can remember Yvon Cornway had a breakaway one time, and he hit the post, and he was getting booed as he came off the ice. I mean, that's how ridiculous those fans were.
Well, I don't think so. Come on,
No,
that's not good. But here in Philadelphia, people love our team. It's not that often that we get booed. And especially in the 80s, we had good teams. I was in the playoffs my first 13 years straight, and they had every year they had a chance to win the Stanley Cup, and unfortunately the Oilers, it was tough because at that time in the 80s, they had 6 players of Hall of Fame in their prime. And we still tried as much as we could, and tried to make sure that you're doing the best you can for your team, because it's a team that counts.
Brian, I want to get to this edition of the Flyers this year. They're playing fantastic. They're strong contenders. Obviously, the coronavirus pandemic hits. Do you still see them as contenders? Because I can't wait for hockey to start back up. I think this team's got a real shot to have a parade down Broad Street, just like the Eagles and the Phillies did respectively in the past couple of seasons.
Well, definitely, because look, they've got Hart and Elliott, 2 good goalies, and they've got a good coaching, like the coaching that they have now. They've got 3 guys with experience. It really made a difference of how they were playing throughout the year. Even in the third periods, they kept betting and better and better, and that's why they won a lot. But with Hart being there, he's like a Pelle Lindbergh. Who knows how good he's going to get? He could definitely help us win a couple Stanley Cups.
Yeah, he's a terrific goalie. He kind of reminds me a little bit of the Devils when they got Brodeur when he first came into the league.
Oh yeah, definitely.
The Devils were a great team in his rookie year because of him. A lot of the reason was because of him. But Hart's terrific. I mean, and they're deep too. That's very important. That's why they're able to win a lot of games in the third period.
Well, plus their defense is really young, but they're mobile, and so they're tough to play against. I mean, everybody that plays against the Flyers hates to play against them because they forecheck all the time. They're in your face all the time. They've got a good power play. Their penalty killing is much better, but having the good goalie that makes the right saves makes a big difference. Now all the teams that are going to come back, they're going to be all rested and ready for what's going on. So I'm looking forward to it.
How do you think that layoff here is going to affect the competition when they do resume, assuming they restart? I mean, are we going to see rust? Are we going to see? Do you think these teams that have that bye, that don't have to play in that round robin round like the Flyers, are they going to have a distinct advantage? How do you see this layoff affecting competition?
Well, I think that now all the players are in such good shape, so it's doesn't matter. They'll pick it up pretty fast. Like in the 80s, we like to drink beer and hang up with the guys to tell some stories, but now it's a little bit different. But they're always in good shape, and so it won't take them that long to get ready. Like if they have a preseason game or 2. And especially with the Flyers in the top 4, they know that they have a bye. that makes a big difference at the start because it's sort of like football. Like if they have a bye, like they could win the Super Bowl. So like you never know what's going to go from there. So they have a good chance this year.
The only problem I have for the Flyers, and hear me out, they have a great team. They whooped the Rangers' asses this year. I mean, I thought we had a pretty good squad this year, but we were no match when we played you. The only thing I worry about if I was a Flyer fan is the fact that the Pittsburgh Penguins are going to be in the first round for you guys, most likely. So I can't see them losing to Montreal in a playoff series. If they beat the Penguins, is it going to be hard for them to be able to get up to the next series? Because that's their biggest rival, and they're playing them in the first round for that.
Yeah, well, it's tough, but Pittsburgh and the Flyers, they have good rivalries, and so like it'll be good hockey. But I think the Flyers are ready to kind of beat better the Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh, they have a couple of good players, but they're not as deep as the Flyers.
No, and the goaltending is very, very questionable right now too. The Flyers are much more steady in net than the Penguins are at this point.
Yeah, definitely. So it's exciting. So like I can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It really is.
Well, I don't know. It might be hot. You can't watch the game, but I think you just have to maybe watch it on TV or whatever they're going to do. And so it'll be exciting for the fans because everybody loves hockey and wants to get back and watching. And so hopefully in another month or two, we'll see how it goes.
We talked about the Flyers being a young team. Do you have a favorite player on the Flyers, a younger guy? Maybe an older guy that you enjoy watching the most that is a personal favorite of yours?
Well, I like Couturier because he's so consistent and he does everything really well. And he's kind of one of the top leaders on the team right now. And it's nice with Carty Hart. He's really good too. But I really like the way he handles the press. Like he's like a Krosky and Gretzky, where he grew up knowing how to say the right things and not buying, putting somebody in trouble with the team and always being their team first.
Brian, who do you think is going to be the toughest matchup for the? Who do the Flyers think would have the toughest matchup against? Just purely in matchup situations that they have to play. In the playoffs.
So I think it might be Boston because Boston's got the experience and they've got good goalies and the defense, and so they played really well at the end of the year, and but the better players in the league, if we play 7-game series, the better teams usually win.
They usually do. One more from me. And that's this: when these playoffs start, okay, obviously there's no fans in the building. Is home ice advantage going to necessarily be a thing? I mean, I know you get the advantages on the face-offs, when the line changes, but how much is it going to affect home ice advantage without fans there?
Well, it's probably not as much anymore because now everybody that you plays in the league, like all the rinks are pretty much the same, and so it doesn't really matter that much. I mean, now like I think that when we used to play the old time in the Spectrum and Chicago and Montreal, it used to be a little different, but now I think that all the rinks are kind of the same, and so just as you prepare the right way, everybody has a chance to win.
So you don't think the fans not having the fans behind you isn't going to be that big of a deal for the most part?
No, because you prepare the same way every home game. It doesn't matter if the fans are on there, or you have to know what you have to do, and then you block off the fans most of the time anyway. So it's how you prepare. Medically and physically, so that you get ready for everything. And so I know that after my first 3 years in the league, it took me a year to figure out that, hey, listen, I have to be much better in the playoffs where it all counts. It doesn't matter the regular season. It's the playoffs that make a big difference. And that's why I became one of the best players in the playoffs.
Brian, why don't you tell the people you're established in the community now? I know you're doing some real estate stuff. You do some you're an ambassador for Bancroft that deals with people with brain injuries. Tell the people what you're doing now and how they can maybe get involved and learn more about it.
Yeah, so I've been with Wolf Commercial Real Estate in Marlton and Philadelphia for the last 5.5 years. I'm a broker, licensed, and but usually what I do is I talk with the people that are there if they need some space, or if they the capital side that we have for loans. We can week with them, sales, property management. We do it all. So if people want to go to our website, they can see there. And I'm usually in the office every day, but now just getting started back a couple days a week. But from virtually, I've been home. And Bancroft, I've been working with them for the last year because I had a massive stroke almost 5 years ago, almost died. And I love working with them. Like I do some events for them. I talk with the people. We have a golf tournament. We have a big gala and things like that. And also for my Brian Propp website, I've got another thing going on where I'm just getting ready to have my own Guffaw cigar brand. So what that means is that I'm going to be a licensing agreement with Vivente Cigars, and then they can order online, and which I'm ready at any time. So if people want to order, they can go to my Brian Propp website, click on the Guffaw cigars, and because there's 425 boxes of special edition, and there'll be about 140 for the 10 cigars, which isn't too bad, but they'll be good, and sort of like I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's right up Brad's alley. Brad's a big cigarsman.
Yeah,
that's awesome. That's really awesome.
Yeah, that's good. Well, Brian, enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks so much for coming on. The insight was great, and go Flyers.
Oh yeah, let's have a good time.
We really appreciate it, Brian. Thank you.
Brian Propp, ladies and gentlemen, not only one of the great Flyers of all time, one of the great players of all time. Brad, it's unbelievable how he raised his game in the.
I used to hate seeing him on the ice. Quite honestly,
I bet you did.
You came on the ice.
I know you landed a good get when you land a Flyer, and I can hear in your voice when you're asking him questions that you were scared to see him come to Madison Square Garden.
Nobody wanted to see him on the ice. The guy was you were a pure goal scorer. I mean, you were a sniper. You could score literally from anywhere on the ice. You had a great wrist shot. I mean, you came up with all those guys, Zezel and Sinisalo and Flockart and Poland and all those guys. I just remember that whole group. It seemed like all you guys just came in waves, especially you, though. I mean, I thought you were the best player on the team.
Well, Tim Kerr and Mark Howe were key. And they were like, without Tim Kerr, like I wouldn't have more assists. Mark Howe is an unbelievable player too. And, I feel like he deserves what he's got. Like he should have been in the Hall of Fame way before that. But the Flyers didn't promote him that much at that time, so like he took him a little time. But now, hopefully he's doing really well. And I talk with him all the time. All the friends that I have with the Flyers alumni, and also like with me doing the Guffaw, I got that from Howie Mandel. I trademarked it from him. So I talked with him at a show 6 months ago where he was in Atlantic City. He had some health problems, and so I talked to him about that with my stroke, and I've recovered as well as I have. And, so I'm just very fortunate that I could have died, but my family was there when I had the stroke. Like I couldn't talk for 3 months. The only thing I could say was and Bernie Pront. And then I had to relearn with my brain how to talk, which took me a year and a half. because I couldn't say anything at all at the start.
Wow, that's gotta be tough.
I didn't know you had a stroke. If you didn't say anything, I would have been oblivious to the
Well, so I
covered nicely.
I had an AFib. I was an AFib because I was a good player. Like, and I skated after the seasons, like with a group of guys. So I was in good shape. And so when the doctors told me I was an AFib, so I had an ablation. If you Google that, that'll be different in your heart. So it took me like 3 years before I had an ablation, which means that I didn't want to take blood thinners, and so like I went to the ablation. And then after time, the ablation wore off. And so like then I probably didn't know it was an AFib. So the clot went into my heart, into my brain. And so I fell out of bed, lost a couple teeth on the edge of the bed. I was at a rented house in Annapolis. And all those years playing hockey, I never lost any teeth. And so, but I couldn't talk, I couldn't move. So thankfully my family was there, called 911 really fast. And then I went to McGee Hospital for 6 weeks every day, 3 hours a day, doing physical therapy, speech therapy, and occupational therapy, and then 5 days a week, occupational, physical, and speech, and on the hospital or there too. And so it took me a year and a half before I could get much better. And but I'm still thankful that I can still skate and play some golf because my right hand is kind of messed up. I can't do anything with my fingers and my right side. But you know, I can. The guys that I play hockey with in the morning, like the goalies aren't that good, so I can still score. And
all right,
you were a natural. You really were. As I was saying to Rob, you know, every time you came on the ice, we always got nervous. I mean, you know, there are certain guys that was like that. When Leach was on the ice, we always got nervous. When you were on the ice, always got nervous. You know what I'm talking about with that. When certain guys are out there, you're always just waiting for the other shoe to drop when the puck goes into our defensive zone. You know, I mean,
well, I love skating, scoring goals, and that's why I had 425 in my regular season and 64 goalies in the playoffs. So, for me, it counts where you when in the playoffs where your team needs to win.
Well, 64 playoff goals just is a testament to what a clutch player you were.
Right. Well, thank you.
Big goals. And you know what? You guys should have won the Stanley Cup in '79. That was awful. Leon Stickle. I mean, he should be. If there's a Hall of Shame, he would be the charter member for that call.
Well, when you get older, you like, what are you going to do? If we won in overtime and forced a Game 7, we'd probably win in Philadelphia, but we didn't. Because learned the lesson from there.
Listen, the Islanders had lost the year before to the Rangers. Okay, the year before that, they lost to the Leafs. They had 2 disgraceful playoff losses in a row, and if you guys beat them that year, it may have stopped the dynasty. I mean, you never know. I mean, it just things. You know how quick things can change if the owner starts giving up on a team because they keep losing in the playoffs. You know?
Well, at that time, the Islanders were pretty good. You know, they had some good players, Bossy and Trottier, and
I know the list.
Bill Smith. Well, Bill Smith was a money goalie too. So,
he was terrific. But you could get him off his game if you got him mad. But
that's right.
You may not have your teeth either, though. That's
right. Yeah, like Hextall.
Yeah. I mean, but yeah, you have to be a little afraid to go in front of the net. That was the problem with him.
Yeah.
But that was quite a period. But we really do appreciate you coming on, Brian. We really
thanks, Brad, and thanks.
I'm going to check out those cigars as well. I'm sure Brad will too.
Okay, definitely.
We do like our cigars, so.
Well, they'll be special. They're from the Dominican Republic. And
nice.
But the shipping is included too.
Okay, nice. We will definitely get on there. Frank, put that number up. Put that back on again. The graphic with the to get the cigars, please. Thank you, sir. There you have it, guys. BrianPropp.com. Get some of those cigars, man. It's the summer and it's time to light up.
That's right.
Make a little noise. Very nice case you get with it too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot. Thanks a
Okay.
lot.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Brian. We really appreciate it.
All right, that was Brian Propp, ladies and gentlemen. One of the great clutch players in NHL history, one of the greatest flyers in NHL history. Brad,
A gentleman, a real gentleman.
yes, a gentleman and a scholar to the highest degree. Brad, do you think he's the best player to never win a Stanley Cup, or is that an oversight?
Listen, that's just a matter of opinion. But I mean, there's a lot of players who haven't won a Stanley Cup. But I mean, as far as a flyer, most definitely. But I mean, you can go back and you can look at guys like Marcel Dion and Mike Gartner. I mean, there's a lot of great players who haven't. But as far as left wings, if you want to talk about maybe the best left wing that didn't win a cup, he might be it. I mean, he was a terrific player.
Most career assists by a left winger in the playoffs with 84. Most career points by a left winger in the playoffs, 64 goals, 84 assists, 148 points. Most assists in one game in a Stanley Cup final with 4. 4 assists in one game in the Stanley Cup final. Most points by a rookie in a Stanley Cup finals in 1980 with 6. Most career power play goals by a left winger in the playoffs with 27. Most goals by a player not to make the Stanley Cup finals in a playoffs with 14.
He was terrific. And one thing I will say about the guys I just talked about, with Mike Gartner and Dion, those guys never did come up real big in the playoffs. So, I mean, there is something to be said about that. Dino Ciccarelli was another one, great player, but never got a championship either. I mean, there's a lot of them, Rob. But I'll tell you what, he was one of the thing that would be heartbreaking to me with Brian was that he was such a good playoff player. These guys that I'm talking about for the most part were great regular season players, but didn't step up in the playoffs, and that had a lot to do with it. I mean, Ovechkin, until they finally won the cup, Ovechkin was a perfect example of that. He was great during the season, and then in the biggest spot, when the spotlight was brightest, he would vanish. Brian Propp was not like that. Brian Propp, the bigger the more, the better he seemed to play.
All right, let's get to our poll question of the night. Let's get some Flyers. So let's get some NHL talk going. We had a big signing in the NFL yesterday. Mr. Cam Newton is now on the Patriots. Baseball has a deal. So we got some stuff to get into here, but this is a hockey show leading off Brian Propp, getting into some Flyers, talk about your Rangers, some of the other matchups around the league. Because hockey, Brad, by far, is the sport I'm most excited to return. Like,
I think a lot of people are. How do you like the lottery where one of the teams?
I can't get into the lottery because NFL, I can watch the guys on TV. Then they're in the league right after they get drafted. These guys go to the minor leagues for 3-4 years.
Not the top draft pick this year.
No, I understand that they're very special. A very special.
He's going to be a killer, and whoever gets him. I mean, and the whole thing is
when is the lottery?
It was already done.
Who won?
Nobody got the first pick.
What?
Okay, here it is. The 2 through 8 have been chosen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
The first pick in the draft is going to be given to one of the 8 teams that loses in the first round. So now.
Whoa. So the worst team is not going to get the first pick?
Nope. Nobody got the first, which I think the NHL fixed that, but it's
got to be one of the dumbest things I've ever heard, Brad.
It is ridiculous, but the first 8 teams that are in the playoffs that lose in the playoffs, they're going to be in the lottery to get the first pick. It's going to go whoever gets the first pick and then it goes 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
But I mean, Detroit was horrible.
Yes, they were, and they're going to have the 6th pick in the draft.
What's the dude's name at the top?
Jason Lafreniere. The Jim
Yeah, Lafreniere.
Detroit was the worst team, and they draft 4th. Thank you. Jason Lafreniere. And this guy is supposed to be something special. I mean, they're comparing him. They're comparing him with Crosby and guys like that. So,
are we going to be doing this every year now? Because last year there was 2 guys whose names escape me.
Kakko
got one of them.
Yeah, Hughes and Kakko. We got Kakko. Kakko is pretty good, but I mean, as a rookie, he didn't quite live up to expectations as a rookie. But again, when you're 18 years old, that's a lot. But this guy is supposed to be something special. His numbers in junior hockey and in the World Championships were completely off the charts. I mean, nobody's had numbers like these since Crosby and Mario and guys like that. This guy, whoever gets this guy is going to have somebody to build around for the next 10 years. I mean, that's how good he was. I mean, the last 2, the Jim P19, you're right on the money. As I said, last couple of years, he's put up numbers in juniors that are just ridiculous. I mean, numbers that nobody gets. So, and for his age, he's so far advanced. It's kind of like the Austin Matthews thing. With Toronto got lucky when they stunk. They got Austin Matthews. When the Flyers had a bad year, they got to pick first. They didn't get a guy like Austin Matthews or Lafreniere. And the Devils, they got Hughes, and Hughes is probably going to be good. But this guy is supposed.
That always happens to Philadelphia. Remember when John Wall was? I remember when John Wall was coming out of Kentucky, and it was a 1-player draft. It was a terrible NBA draft. The Sixers ended up getting lucky in the lottery, but not lucky enough. So they got Evan Turner at 2 instead of John Wall at 1. They got the 2nd pick.
Well, I mean, Evan Turner wasn't a bad player.
They should have picked DeMarcus Cousins, but Ed Stefanski was a total dope, an Ohio State fanboy, so he picked Evan Turner. What a horrible GM Ed Stefanski was. Horrible.
Yeah, I mean,
we digress. That's some lottery talk.
Well, here's something. Here's a little conspiracy theory that I've been hearing. Okay, is that the Penguins are going to lose on purpose to the Canadians, and then the fix is going to be in, and they're going to get Lafreniere to play with Crosby. I've heard all this, and what?
They would really have to. They would have to lose on purpose to the Canadians. I think.
Are you telling me that Sidney Crosby and Yvette and Malkin are going to try to lose in the first round of the playoffs so they can get somebody else, some hotshot kid on the team?
No, and I don't buy that because look, I love me a good conspiracy theory. We can have a whole 2-hour show about different conspiracy theories about this.
But that would be the ultimate one. Now, listen, if you're going to tell me they're going to fix it so that the Canadiens get Lafreniere, okay, that
makes more sense.
Yeah, I get
Pittsburgh. That's not a destination market.
Well, it's not.
I know they love their hockey, but I mean,
yeah, but Gary Bettman,
like when the NBA rigged it so that your Knicks could get Ewing.
Yeah, and a lot of good it did them. They still couldn't win a championship. They couldn't build around them until.
Well, it makes sense because you got Madison Square Garden in New York, and it's the Knicks, and it's.
Yeah, but they haven't won a lottery.
I don't see that happening.
The Knicks haven't gotten better to a third pick in the draft in the last 20 years, and they have not been very good the last 20 years. So, they haven't exactly been lucky lately with that. Whenever it was, their luck ran out. But there are some conspiracy theories about that.
Yeah, Jim P says the same thing is out there for Arizona. Arizona will leave Lafreniere. Also, Taylor Hall probably leaves there. I think Arizona is going to win a playoff series, though. I think they're going to win their first series.
I'm not so sure Taylor Hall is going to leave there. I know a lot of people are saying that, but Arizona is a non-income tax state. So
here we go with your tax talk now.
It is a factor. Before you go thinking that he's running out of Arizona, there's a few states he could go. I mean, Nevada, obviously, is he going to go to Vegas or is he going to play with one of the? He's not going to go to the Panthers because the Panthers won't. The Panthers just are not going to end up. There's no way the NHL.
Well, they just spent a lot of money.
Huh? Yeah, but they also
Panthers just spent a lot of money.
Yeah, but let's be honest. The Sports Hounds gets a bigger fan base watching than the
Well, Sports Hounds, we had a lot of fans. You look at our view numbers.
I'm just saying though.
The Panthers, there's no shame in losing to the Sports Hounds.
The Jim P19, Jim, I don't necessarily agree with you about him leaving Taylor Hall leaving Arizona. I don't know about that because, as I said, you'd be surprised. The tax thing doesn't matter. These guys, if they're making as much money as they are, it does make a difference. They're not making $20 million a year like the baseball players are. So if they're making $8 million and they have to give back $1 million or $2 million in taxes, that matters to those guys. That's why I'm not so sure about it. But I'll tell you.
Let's get to our poll question. Our poll question is brought to you by Philly Drinkers LLC. Visit phillydrinkers.com. Go to the collection section, click on A2D. You get a hat like this. You get a shirt like this. We got bathing suits. We got T-shirts for every show. Everything you could want A2D to represent the fastest growing media company in the country is right there. Philly Drinkers LLC. The Philadelphia Flyers will win the Stanley Cup. We got hashtag agree, hashtag disagree. Brett, I'm going to have to agree. I think this team's got an excellent chance to win the Stanley Cup. I've bet on them. I have them at 23.5 to 1 odds to win the Cup. They have a goalie. Finally have a goalie in Carter Hart. They have a great mix of veterans and younger players. Their defense is the best it's been in years, and the coach is the best it's been in years. So I think the Flyers are going to do something nuts here and win the Stanley Cup. I think they have a great shot, as Jim P19 shouts out there in the comments section.
I don't disagree with you. However, if you're putting a gun to my head, I still have to go with the Bruins right now. I mean, I think that they're good for one more Stanley Cup before a lot of these older players retire. And I think the fact that they've had a 3-month break really helps them because they are an older team. I think the break is going to help a team like the Penguins as well, because they're so top heavy and they don't necessarily have a lot of depth. They're also going to get a key player back in Jake Gensel. I think if the Flyers have to play the Penguins.
Boy, he's talking about a pain in the ass.
Well, the whole thing. That's why I asked Brian about it. If the Flyers have to play the Penguins in the first round of the playoffs for the Flyers,
I want to play the Penguins bad. I want to whoop that ass.
I know that, but the problem is that could be the kind of series that just takes a lot out of them. That's what I'd be worried about. Because
that could go the other way. That could go the other way. They could win the series.
It could propel them.
I think the Flyers are a better hockey team than the Penguins. I do
too. I think they're deeper. They're better defensively now. I mean, if you look at the first line, the Penguins may have more star power on that first line, but I think second, third, and fourth line, I think the Flyers have it all over them, and I do think they're better in goal, and I think they're better defensively. But I think it's going to be a tough first round matchup for them, just because it's the Penguins and that's their biggest rival. But I will say this, and I can go back to 1994 with the Rangers. The Rangers went out in the first round, and I was worried about this back then, that they had to play the Islanders in the first round. Well, the Rangers murdered the Islanders, and it seemed to make them even better the next round when they murdered the Capitals. So they're the two big giants that they had to slay that had knocked them out of the playoffs every year, it seemed, they finally got rid of. So, sometimes it works the other way too. I'm just concerned. I'm concerned because that's a big series, and I just would hate to think.
I hear you. I think the Flyers. To speak more to that, I think
the fans might be worn out after the first round more than the players, though. That could be it too,
and I think the Flyers went to the Stanley Cup Finals in 1997 because the Rangers and the Devils kicked the shit out of each other in the series before.
Oh, I think it had a lot to do with it. Absolutely. And again, that's the hard part about playing your rivals is a lot of times, you're going to be playing your arch rivals. The Flyers are going to want to beat the hell out of them. They're going to want to beat the hell out of the Flyers. It's going to be a tough series. And
I also think that I think that no fans in the stadium is going to take some juice, at least a little bit of juice, out of the rivalry.
Well, I don't know about that.
We'll see. We're going to see who hates. We're going to see who hates who and what the rivalries are.
You're talking about two teams who don't like each other. Okay, I mean, there's this distinct dislike between those two teams. I don't think they necessarily need the fans to be there to not like them. The only thing I would say is the Flyers are very, very good at home. I think Vigneault has a lot to do with that. I think it's his ability to match up, especially on putting the defensive players out there. Because the one thing you can match, even if you can't match up, line for line, you can always put your best defenseman out there because for the most part, especially in the first and third period, the bench is where your defensive zone is. So you could always change defensemen and put the defense pairing you want against the other team's big line. And I think that's the one thing that can get done. And Vigneault is real good at that. I think that's something that will definitely help the Flyers. They can make sure that they have Provorov out there when guys like Crosby and Malkin are out there. And who's the guy they got from the Capitals now? I can't remember his name. Niskanen. They can put Provorov and Niskanen out there. When the Penguins have the big line out there, Niskanen can be himself and be physical and just a pain in the ass, and Provorov will have the speed to keep up with those guys. So I do think the Flyers can win. I think the Flyers can win the Stanley Cup. I just would hope for them that they don't get themselves stuck in a series, in a long physical series before they face them. That's the problem because if they go in the second round after they beat the Penguins, they're going to have to face Boston. And if Boston goes through whoever they have to face in the first round, I think it's going to be the Rangers. The Rangers would probably be the lowest seed. If Boston has to play the Rangers, I do think the Rangers would give them a fight, but the Rangers are not a big physical team. And I think Boston would get rid of them fairly quickly. And I think at that point, it'd just be a little tougher for the Flyers after a series like that to have to face Boston. That's the problem.
David Roska checking in. The Florida Panthers need to have to win the Stanley Cup this year.
They have.
I like the Panthers. They have no chance.
No chance. Their defense has been terrible this year. Their goaltending has been a disaster. I know they spent a lot of money on Bobrovsky, but Bobrovsky has not played well for them. And then they went and they traded Vinny Trocheck. I'm not so sure that team. I'm not so sure that team is going anywhere in the playoffs. I think they're gonna have a hard time with the Islanders. I mean, I know that the Islanders were in a bad way when play was stopped, but I think that's kind of a situation for the Islanders where they got a little bit of a timeout, and now they can reset. And with a great coach,
I think that's the most intriguing series, Brad, of the Eastern Conference round robin is the Islanders and Florida.
I mean, Barry Trotz is a terrific coach, and the fact that they were able to get this.
I don't know how good the Islanders are.
They're a real good defensive team.
A lot of talent, and Joel Quenneville's a great coach too.
Yeah, he is, but that team, I just the problem with that team is I don't particularly like the Panthers. I think they play too loose in their own end. I just don't know that they're going to have enough to beat the Islanders. I think the Ranger series against Carolina is going to be an interesting series. I
like the Rangers. I like the Rangers in that series, Brad. I like the Rangers kind of a lot. I'm sure they're a dog in Vegas. I think I'm gonna bet the Rangers to win that series.
It's going to be interesting though because you've got a lot of ex-Rangers on Carolina, and you've got a lot of ex-Carolina players on the Rangers.
Is there anyone better in the game right now than Panarin, the bread man?
Well, between him and Zibanejad, they've been great, but the problem is their defense is that they haven't played well defensively. Lindy Ruff hopefully will go to the Devils and be their coach next year. One can only hope because he's a terrible defensive coach. I just haven't liked their defense all season, quite honestly. As far as their matchup with Carolina, they won all 4 games. But, at this point, they did trade Shea, and I'm just concerned about that coming back to haunt them because now Brendan Smith is going to be on their first line for defense. He's on the first defensive pairing with Trouba, and I really do not like Brendan Smith. He scares the hell out of me. He's tough, and he'll give you 100%, but he's so slow, and that scares me against the team that can skate like Carolina.
We got the Jim P. Used to like the LeClaire-Lindros line. I used to like it too. I never understood why.
Oh, the 88 line, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You go to the Stanley Cup. You go to the Stanley Cup Finals in '97 on the back of the Legion. It was the Legion of Doom. It was Renberg. It was LeClaire and Lindros.
Yep.
And then afterwards, they kind of played all these games where they wanted to split them up, and they only played them on the power play, and they went through a series there where they didn't have a good enough coach to be able to mesh the best talent together. But I think they missed out on between Lindros' injuries and them not playing together all the time. I thought that was a lot of missed opportunities in that era.
Oh, absolutely. No, they had some good.
Plus, they never had a goalie.
No, if they had the goalie they have now back then, that would have been some team.
I still can't believe the Flyers lost in 2001. I think it was 2001 or 2000 when Stevens laid out Lindros in Game 7.
Yeah, I think just before that, didn't Elias score the go-ahead goal just before that?
Elias, that was at the end of the game. The crowd was rocking. It's Game 7 in Wells Fargo. It's like the first 10 minutes of the game, if I remember correctly. Eric Lindros is skating around like a dope with his head down, and Scott Stevens just completely obliterates him. Lindros is out cold on the ice. The whole stadium goes silent.
That definitely took the steam out of it.
The wind was just sucked out of the barn, as they say. And then Patrick Elliott, he scored with like a minute left, and the Flyers lost 2-1. But I still can't believe that they lost that series.
Yeah, that was a tough one. Devils. I'll tell you what, though, for all the complaining everybody did about the Devils and their trap and everything, that was a good team. I mean, they had some dynamite players on that team.
With the Devils?
Yeah.
Oh, they were loaded, but I hated their guts.
Oh, we all did. I mean, nobody really liked the Devils, but I mean, they
Stevens and Niedermeyer and Brodeur and Elias and
yeah, Claude Lemieux, who, as I told Brian Propp, he just had that face that you wanted to punch. And there were John McClain and who some of the other guys that were on that team. Patrick, I'll tell you, Patrick Elias was a gentleman. He was always a real stand-up player. You never saw any craziness out of him. But that team was a real tough, physical team, and they were big, and they threw their weight around, and they played tough defense. And they changed the offside rule because of the Devils, because of that trap. That's when they took the red line out, because nobody could score against the Devils because they were just putting up a brick wall at the red line. So,
all right, Jim P, he likes Nashville as a potential sleeper team in the West with Pekka.
I don't like Nashville. I don't think they could score enough. Rene is 38 years old now.
Yeah, he's had a lot of. Jim says he's had a lot of time off.
I know, but at his age, I just don't know that he can take it all the way anymore. Rene. I mean, he's
I'm not a Nashville guy either. I don't
think they could score enough. I just don't. I think Winnipeg.
I like Arizona a lot in that.
I think Winnipeg is more of a sleeper team than Nashville. Winnipeg has a lot of talent on their team. They were very inconsistent this year, but that's a very deep and talented team. And they also have
Calgary in that series. I like Calgary in that series, Brad.
Well, I don't know. I think Winnipeg.
I think Calgary really, they spit the bit last year. They really got taken to the woodshed by the Avalanche last year in last year's playoffs. And
yeah, but nobody knew how good the Avalanche was. That's part of it. I mean, Cal, the problem
it's like the Phillies in 07 when they got swept by the Rockies and then they came back the next year and won the World Series because they had a taste. They figured out what they needed to do to win playoff hockey. I'm not saying the Flames are going to win, 2 playoff series or go to the Stanley Cup or anything.
Well, I mean, look,
they beat Winnipeg.
I just think that Winnipeg's goalie is going to be the difference. Hellebuck.
The odds. Can we get the odds? Let me see if I can find the odds.
Hellebuck's really good. I mean, I would, if I was betting, if I was betting on that series, I would have to go with Winnipeg. But I think they're the dark horse in that league. I've liked Colorado since the beginning of the season. I think they're the best team. They have the most talent in the West, and I think that they're going to get to the finals. I'd be very surprised if they're not there.
Let me see if I can get the odds here for each series. I know we did it a couple weeks ago, but I want to do it again. Maybe the odds change. We'll see. Now, is that it? Okay. So I'm assuming I'm reading the right. I'm sure someone will correct me in the chat if I'm wrong. This is according to my Parks Casino Bet Builder app. Let's start with the East. Like the Rangers being minus Hurricanes minus 148 to beat the Rangers. That makes sense, right?
Minus 140. You mean so they're
so you bet $148 to win $100, and the Rangers are plus 120. Let me see if
I think that's crazy. I think the Rangers are going to win the series, but
so do I.
I mean, for Carolina.
I mean, yeah, but Brad,
I mean, whoever makes the odds.
The Rangers are the 11th seed.
Yeah, I know, but they were only 2 points behind Carolina, and Carolina was the 6th seed.
All right, let me look at FanDuel.
I mean that's all I'm saying. I mean, that's
NHL series, NHL qualifying series. You want to start with the West or you want to start with the East?
Oh, let's start with the West, and then we'll go to the East.
All right, great, because that's what's at the top of the screen. Okay, so we got the Arizona Coyotes and the Nashville Predators qualifying series. The Nashville Predators a slight minus 134 favorite. Arizona plus 110. So for those of you new to sports gambling out there, you got to bet $134 to win $100 if you think the Predators are going to win. To win $100, if you bet $100 on the Coyotes to win that series, you would win $110. I'm going to take the dog here, and I'm going to take the Arizona Coyotes.
Yeah, I have to go with the favorite in that one. I think that the Predators are good enough to win in the first round. I do think they'll beat the Coyotes. The Coyotes are young. I think it's a big ask for them to beat a veteran team like Nashville. I think Nashville survives the first round.
And Rosca saying Arizona's going to win the Cup. You just said, Rosca, come on, man. You just said that the Panthers were going to win the Cup. Isn't he? Am I nuts? All right, so qualifying series number 2 in the West. This seems like a slam dunk for the Oilers, Brad. Minus 164 over an aging, kind of washed up Chicago Blackhawks team.
Oh, I think Edmonton has a feast with that team.
That sounds like a sweep.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way Chicago at this point they can't skate with them. Edmonton's just too fast. That's one of those speed kills teams. You have to be really fast to keep up with the Oilers. They score a lot. It's hard to stay with them. You know, you have the top 2 leading scorers in the league play on the same line, and Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid. How does an aging Chicago team with questionable goaltending and literally a bunch of grandfathers back on the back line, how do they stop that team? I just don't see it.
Okay, Minnesota Wild and the Vancouver Canucks. This is an even series. Minnesota Wild. The Canucks are a slight favorite at -136. The Wild plus
if they had been playing without the COVID virus coming in, I would have gone with Minnesota because Minnesota was on fire. But now with the time off, it becomes a real tough. It's real tough to figure because Minnesota, it took them a long time to get going, but once they got going, they were just awesome. But Vancouver's an up-and-coming team. I think Vancouver wins that series.
All right, then the last one in the West is the Winnipeg Jets and the Calgary Flames.
You forgot Colorado.
Well, Colorado has a bye.
Oh, that's right. Never mind. Sorry about that. Winnipeg and
Calgary.
I like Winnipeg.
Both teams, you want -106 for the Jets, -116. So -116 for the Flames. So this is the closest series in the Western Conference, according to
evenly matched. I have to go with the Jets only because I think the Jets have a better goalie, and I just think that's goaltending's everything in the playoffs, and I think they're going to come up big in that series.
Okay, let's go to the East. Columbus and Toronto. The Maple Leafs are a heavy favorite in this series. The Maple Leafs at a -166 favorite, Columbus +136.
How did that work out for Columbus last year?
It worked out well.
Yeah.
I'm kind of smelling upset here. I don't think the Maple Leafs are built for playoff hockey.
Exactly. That's the whole thing. Tortorella is going to have
like the Rockets.
Yeah, Tortorella is going to have that Columbus team ready. They're a good defensive team. Seth Jones is going to be playing because he's healthy now, which is going to be huge for the Blue Jackets. The Blue Jackets really have overachieved this year. If you look at who they lost in free agency, and they lost
their goalie, they lost Panarin, they lost.
They lost Duchesne too. I mean, they were devastated in free agency. Okay, Tortorella just brings up some young players, and this team gets right back in the saddle. They also lost Bobrovsky, and it doesn't matter. His system works, and his system does work in the playoffs. Remember, he did win a cup back in 2004. He's a real good coach. I think that he's going to be able to figure out this Toronto team. He's going to be able to slow them down. And Toronto defensively is not good. They run around in their own zone. They're weak between the pipes. And you know what? If Toronto ends up – and I think in that series, the first goal is going to be huge. If Columbus scores the first goal and Toronto has to start running around, they may fill the net. Love Columbus as
an upset there. I like an upset there a lot, actually. +136 there on the okay. Another even one, -102 and -120. Islanders a slight favorite over the Panthers. This is a coin flip if I've ever seen one. I'm going to go with the.
I like the Islanders. They did listen. The Islanders last year did stun the Penguins in the playoffs, and they won a playoff round. They're a well-coached team. They were floundering towards the end of the season, as were the Panthers. I just think that the Islanders are better suited for the playoffs. They're bigger and they're stronger, and I think they're better between the pipes. I think this is an Islander. I think this is an Islander win. I'd love to see Florida beat them. Don't get me wrong. I never root for the Islanders except at some point. But I mean, I think they're going to win the series.
All right, then we got your Rangers at +112. Hurricanes favorite in the series at -136. I like the Rangers in this series. I do. I think they had the best player. I think they were really playing well before life stopped because of COVID. And
the Rangers have a big advantage between the pipes. And I also think that their defense, although they are a little shaky defensively, offensively, that team is, as far as their defensemen are concerned, Anthony D'Angelo and Adam Fox are two of the better offensive defensemen in the league. I think, if the season didn't end because of COVID, I think D'Angelo would have ended up with 60 to 65 points, which is a lot of points for a defenseman. And Adam Fox would have been in the upper 50s. So, I mean, you're talking about two real good offensive defensemen. Rangers had a real good power play. They won all 4 games against Carolina. And their power play just destroyed Carolina. And to be honest with you, the quickness of the Rangers was something that Carolina just couldn't deal with. Now, having Brady Shea on Carolina and now the Rangers having Brendan Smith as your first pairing defense to replace him, that's the one thing that does scare me. Plus, there's a lot of ex Carolina team players on the Rangers, and there's a lot of ex-Rangers on Carolina. It's an interesting series. I think the Rangers win. I think it's going to probably be, what is it, the best of 5?
Yes.
I think it's going to be a 3 series. And
First round is best of 5. The round robin series are best of 5 series.
Yeah, I think the Rangers are going to win that series.
And then the last series, I mean, I think we're pretty unanimous in that the Penguins are going to make quick work of the Canadians, a heavy minus 205 favorite. Canadians plus 166. Huge dog.
The only chance the Canadians have, and I mean, it could happen because Carey Price is the kind of guy, if he gets hot, he can carry a team. But I just thought the Canadians just don't score enough to be able to keep up with the Penguins. And
they're going to have to win 1-0.
Huh?
They're going to have to win 1-0, 2-1, and I don't know if
I don't think the Canadians defensively are good enough to do that. The Canadians wouldn't have even had a sniff of the playoffs if it wasn't for this expanded format. I mean, listen, I know the Rangers are the 11th seed.
Yes.
But keep in mind
they were trending up.
But the Rangers were also only 2 points out of being the 6th seed. The Canadians
and the Metropolitan Division, much more competitive than forget what they call their division over there.
The Northeast. I can't remember what I think it's the Northeast or whatever is the Atlantic. No, it's the Atlantic Division, I think.
Okay.
The Atlantic Division, the Canadians only had 70 points. Rangers had 79 points. I think there's a big difference in a team that's 2 points away from being in the playoffs and a team that was basically playing for next year when COVID came along and they were basically handed a gift. You know, the Rangers may have made the playoffs if they played all the games. The Canadians were not going to make the playoffs.
And I'll tell you right now, I don't care if it makes me look like a fraud. I'm openly rooting for the Penguins in that series. I want to see the Flyers and the Penguins play playoff hockey.
That's going to be one hell of a series. I think the Flyers would match up well with the Penguins. The Penguins are a little top heavy, but you know, I said it to Brian.
The Flyers are better. I'm not worried about it. I want to see good hockey. I'm not worried about the Penguins. Flyers are better than that series.
The big test is going to come against the Bruins. That's when the big test is going to come, and we'll
bring
see
them on too.
Yeah,
bring them on too. I think the Flyers stack up well with everyone. I think they're a really good team.
They're a real good team. They're well balanced. I mean, the only thing that could beat the Flyers is that some of the guys aren't experienced enough. But I mean, they just the way they looked in the regular season. Again, I'm kind of just going by how they played against the Rangers. The Flyers just destroyed the Rangers, and nobody else did that to the Rangers. Looked like a bad team against the Flyers, and the Rangers were not a bad team this year. But against the Flyers, they couldn't get anything going, and the puck was in the net all the time. So, I mean, I got to give the Flyers credit for that. So, again, I think the key for them is the series against the Bruins. That's going to be the tough one. If they can get past the Bruins in the second round, then all bets are off. They could easily win the cup at that point.
All right. Brad, we had a pretty big deal signing yesterday in the NFL.
Cam Newton is now a New England Patriot.
Now, Brad, I don't like this. Now, I can't sit here and argue in good faith that Cam Newton isn't a better option at quarterback for the Patriots than Brian Hoyer or Jarrett Stidham, who you just have no clue about. But I don't really like this fit. I don't really like this fit at all because Cam Newton crumbled when he tried to get put in a system by North Turner down in Carolina. You know, Josh McDaniel's system, it's an X and O. It's not a system where Cam Newton's going to be allowed to just go make plays. He's going to have to play within a system. He's going to have to learn a playbook. He's going to have to hit guys in stride, and I don't know that that's Cam Newton's strength. So, yeah, the Patriots upgraded quarterback, but I don't really see this as being a good fit at all.
Here's the issue, okay? Remember Matt Castle back in 2009.
I get it. Yeah.
How good was Matt Castle before he was with the Patriots? He stunk. How was he with the Patriots? It's pretty damn good. They were 11-5 with him quarterback. Then he goes.
Yeah.
Then he leaves the Patriots to get the money, and he was pretty darn bad. I think this is a good opportunity. It's a great opportunity for Cam Newton. I mean, this. He's got a prove it contract. I mean, he should be all in. He's got a great opportunity with a great coach, a great offensive coordinator. I mean, he has everything to gain here. You know, he's got a team that has a real good defense. Yeah, when I saw that he signed with the Patriots yesterday, I was just kind of sad because I was really expecting.
I still think the Bills and the Jets are better.
Yeah, I was kind of, had my hopes up to see the Bills and Jets fight it out and the Patriots kind of be third or fourth this year. But
Patriots are still third, in my opinion.
I don't know. I mean, we'll see. Cam brings one thing to the table that Brady never could, and that's the fact that he can move around and he can still be a dangerous runner. And that's something that the Patriots haven't had. That's a different skill set. And Cam, at this stage of his career, compared to Brady, still has a better arm. I mean, Brady really couldn't get the ball downfield all that. I mean, Brady's
I get that, but who was he going to get the ball downfield to last year?
Well, we don't really know because he really couldn't throw a deep ball. So that's part of it. But
but I mean, Edelman's not that type of player. N'Keal Harry, their rookie, never really was healthy enough until the end of the year.
No, and they were listening.
Mohamed Sanu came over in the trade, and that didn't work. I mean, the Patriots, I don't think they have a good roster.
Yeah, they still have a good defense, though, and they still have a real good coach. And it's somehow, some way, that team's going to be very competitive again. Don't count out Bill Belichick. Not yet.
I'm counting them out. No playoffs, third place.
Yeah, I can't count them out. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs either, but this signing, I have to admit, has me a little nervous.
Mike Parker, Pats with Cam Newton raises some eyebrows.
Yeah, it has to. I mean,
it's good that he's on a team because he's way too good a player to be unsigned.
Well, listen, he's gonna make things awfully interesting down in New England. I mean, whether you like him or not, he can be a polarizing player at times. Cam Newton.
I was out on Cam Newton when he didn't jump on that fumble in the Super Bowl.
I know that, and I realize that. But
what a loser!
He's still a talented player, and I think with this coach, and this coaching staff, I do think that they're going to be okay. I can't sit here and say he's not going to be an effective player. And
Newton is not a pinpoint passer like Brady.
No, he's not. He's not. He's right. He's right about that. And the injury thing is.
And he's got a questionable health. Yes.
Yeah, he's right. But again, he's had a whole off season now to try to get better. So I'm assuming that the Patriots did their homework on this. Still like the Bills in that division. I think the Bills are the team to beat. The Jets are going to be right there. And, the Patriots, we'll see about Cam Newton. We'll see.
I really like the Jets.
I think
pending they get the Jamal Adams situation figured out, and he's on the field and playing for them the whole season.
Well, I don't think Jamal Adams,
like the Jets team.
I don't see him as a guy that's going to sit out. He's not going to do that. But he does want to get paid, and that's what this whole trade me.
They could trade him. I mean, they could trade him.
They could. I don't think they trade. I think he's a trade deadline kind of situation. I think if the Jets are having a bad year and they're not going to make the playoffs, I could see them then trading him and picking up a couple of picks. But I don't think before the season starts they're going to start trading him. I don't see that. They don't have to. He signed for 2 more years, and they're going to want good young talent on that team. They're not going to want veterans. They're not going to want high priced veterans either. because they want a high-priced player.
They're gonna want.
They're going to want young players coming off
They're gonna want to give Douglas all the draft picks he wants to.
Right, or they're going to get a couple of young players who are not making big bucks that he doesn't have to worry about, who are still going to be on their rookie deals. Because if he wants to pay for an expensive player, he could just pay Adams. So I mean, I think Douglas is just waiting to see what's gonna happen. They do not have, just because the guy is demanding a trade, they don't have to trade him. They are not under any.
I wish Howie would. I wish the Eagles would get on the phone and make something happen.
Well, the Jets are gonna want good young talent. You know, I mean, if I were the Jets, I was dealing with.
It doesn't look like a great trade. It doesn't look like a great trade match.
I don't want Rager, and I'd want a first round pick. I don't want a guy like Zach Ertz, and I know everybody keeps bringing up Zach Ertz.
Yeah, that's not.
The Jets are not going to want a guy. First of all, Zach Ertz can leave after the season. Why would the Jets want a guy who's going to leave after the season?
Then you got to pay it. Then you got to give. Zach Ertz is one of the best tight ends in the league. You got to pay.
Right, but they're going to be paying 50
a 30-year-old premium money at a position that
right. Exactly.
You can maybe work something else out for cheaper.
Yeah, I just don't think that's a smart deal for the Jets. I know the Eagle fans would love to see that happen, but that's not a deal the Jets are going to make. They're going to, as I said, they're going to want Rager and a first round pick. I guarantee you, if the Eagles offered them that, they would probably take it. Because that's a fair trade. Don't be offering them their running back or a couple of their older defensive players who haven't worked out. They're not going to want guys like that. That's what they're going to want. They're going to want young, exciting players. And to be honest with you,
I'm just looking at this Eagles team, and I just think they need another impact guy. And now they might need two impact guys to be serious Super Bowl contenders. I'm not even sure the Eagles are going to win the East anymore without Brandon Brooks.
It's going to be a tough chore, but I wouldn't be too surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't win now without him. He's a big loss. Mike Parker, they don't just want Rager. Mike. I said they want Rager plus a first round pick. So they're gonna want two players like that they don't have to pay. They're not going to want a guy who they're going to be paying $15 to $20 million for. I mean, if they wanted to do that, they would just pay Adams and get it over with.
Right. I don't understand
I don't understand why they don't just
extend them. I don't understand. I don't know what their cap situation is. I don't follow the day-to-day operations of
the Jets do not have a cap problem right now.
Why wouldn't you just pay Jamal Adams? He's one of the best safeties in the league.
Well, he wants to get paid now. He wants out of his rookie.
What? Yeah. Who cares?
You signed a 5-year deal, dude. You gotta play for 5 years before you get.
He didn't sign the 5-year deal. He's boxed in because of the rookie pay scale.
Right. Exactly.
And then the Jets picked up his option, which I'm sure they did. And
as I said, they have this year, and then next year they can put him on. They can franchise him. So,
why not build a defense around him? Is what I'm saying. You drafted him. He's young. He's in his prime.
I think they're trying to. I mean, between him and
he's going to be worth. I mean, what's he going to make? Top safety money. That's what he's worth. I mean, if you watched him play,
he's an outstanding player, and he's 24 years old. He's going to get better.
Mike Parker's got every right to hold out if he wants. Yeah, he can certainly do whatever he wants.
Yeah, he can, but is he gonna? He is making $8 million this year. I don't think that he's going to give up $8 million.
But I think Mike's point is, if he wants to, he can.
Oh, he can if he wants to, but I don't think he's going to. He can hold out this year and next year if he wants. But is he going to take 2 years out of his
prime? No, that's silly.
To hold
that
out.
Hasn't really the holdout game hasn't really paid off. It didn't pay off for any of them running backs like Le'Veon Bell and Melvin Gordon. So I don't see how it would work out for a safety like Jamal Adams.
Yeah, I don't think it would. I mean, it's not like Listen, as good as he is, he's a safety. He's not a defensive lineman. Okay, so
The one name I would keep an eye on if I'm an Eagles fan is Joe Toomey from New England, the All-Pro guard who they franchise tagged. If they're,
I don't think he's going anywhere. And the Patriots,
you're probably right. You're probably right. But if the Patriots are doing what I think they're doing and trying to position themselves to get Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields or the kid from North Dakota State, Joe Toomey will be traded at some point.
Yeah, at the deadline.
Okay, he could get traded to the Eagles.
I think New England is gonna try to win this year. Obviously, signing Cam Newton tells you that they're going to try to win this year, that they're not going to tank. If they were planning to tank, they sure as hell would have gone out and signed Cam Newton.
Like I said, I don't really like the fit. I really don't. So
I just look
I
at
don't
it.
think it's going to work out that good.
I don't know, but I will say this, and I said it before. You look at Matt Castle and his career and what happened when he played for New England, and it worked out pretty well.
Look, are we just going to use that Matt Castle argument forever now?
What about Jacoby Brissett?
It's a Nick Foles on a smaller scale.
You got the guy on San Francisco. Don't forget him.
Garoppolo never played any time for.
He played a couple of games and he was pretty.
I get that. Not an extended season like Castle did.
No, but he got his contract for.
I understand. But you understand the Niners took a tremendous risk in putting their eggs in that basket.
I know, and the Colts did too.
And it worked out, kind of.
And the Colts did too with Jacoby Brissett.
Jacoby Brissett stinks. He's got a big arm and nothing else, and he's a little athletic.
Yeah, but he's not accurate enough, and that might be the problem with Cam Newton too. He may just not be accurate enough to be an effective quarterback. And if
can't put Cam in a pro style, so you got to go out there and say, Cam, go make us plays. And I don't think Josh McDaniels is capable of doing that.
Oh, I disagree with you. I think that they'll find a way to get the most out of Cam Newton. Let's put it this way: if Cam Newton,
I don't know, Josh McDaniels, stubborn guy.
I know, but Belichick is not. Belichick wants to win, and Belichick is going to put him. He does it for all these players, and if you notice, a lot of players that leave New England aren't that effective.
I don't know how much Bill is going to get involved. I don't know how much Bill is going to get involved in stepping on McDaniel's toes in terms of offensive strategy.
I think Bill has something to do with the offense.
Well, no, I understand that. He's the head coach.
Right. No, but what I'm saying is between Bill and McDaniels, I think that they're gonna find a way to make that team tough. I just can't see Cam Newton not being effective. If they don't think that he can be a every down quarterback, they could bring him in for a couple of series the way the Eagles plan to use what's his name? Your quarterback.
Jalen Hurts. Oh my God!
And the way the
QB factory. And it's a good comment there by Mike Parker. Let's face it, Howie Roseman wishes he was Bill Belichick with the QB factory. Look, the QB factory.
The QB factory is silly.
I just can't believe that they did that in the second round. I'm just dumbfounded. I'm sort of over it by now because I did see Jalen Hurts and Deshaun Jackson working out together in Florida. I hate Jalen Hurts getting picked in the second round, but I'm happy he's working hard and trying to build chemistry with his teammates in case he does have to play or they have packages for him or whatever they're going to do with him. Even I just don't understand how you pick a quarterback when you have a franchise quarterback in Carson Wentz in the second round.
Well, that's the problem. That's more of the problem that's more the problem than anything else. Is you already have Wentz. I don't know that Jalen Hurts is going to be a bad player. I think he might be a pretty good player.
I was actually excited after day one of the draft to see where he was going to go, to see if he could maybe do something.
Yeah, but if you didn't pick him in the second round, if you would have picked him in the fourth round, that would be interesting. But the second round was too early. You guys You guys should have been picking up instead of looking for toys. You should have been picking up. You should have been looking for nuts and bolts and not toys in the second round. That's not the second round. The fourth and fifth round is for picking toys. That's where you.
Bill grooms his quarterback. Bill does not groom his quarterbacks. Bill fell ass backwards into Tom Brady. Josh McDaniels took him to the next level. And look, if you want to say New England's a genius QB factory because Matt Castle caught lightning in a bottle for a season, they went 11-5. Didn't make the playoffs, mind you. I guess that's fair, but I'm not anointing Bill Belichick as some type of quarterback guru because of Matt fucking Castle. Sorry.
Well, it's an interesting thought. Didn't he start with Bledsoe?
Yes.
Yeah, and Bledsoe got
Bledsoe was a veteran though. Bill didn't.
Bledsoe got hurt. Bledsoe got hurt, and then he got traded to Dallas. Brady, when Brady first came up, Brady was Bledsoe was the Statue of Liberty, and Brady could move around, and Brady was pretty tough to catch. As far as his way of moving around and scrambling and finding open receivers, but nobody knew what they did.
Jacoby Brissett is not a starting quarterback in this league. He's not a starting quarterback in this league. Jimmy G never played a lick for the Patriots. Now the Patriots did well drafting him and then turning him into something, but I mean, Kyle Shanahan, he developed Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo is a good quarterback, a solid, serviceable starting quarterback in the NFL because of Kyle Shanahan, not because of anything Josh McDaniels or Bill Belichick did with him in New England. All he did was get Tom Brady coffee in New England. And Jacoby Brissett stinks. Jacoby had New England QB factory because of Matt Castle and Jacoby Brissett. Stop it.
Jacoby had his opportunity with the Colts last year, and he shit the bed. I mean, we can't. There's no denying that. That's why they went and brought in Phillip Rivers.
He can throw the ball really far. Great.
Yeah, but he's not accurate.
Quarterback to doing that.
Yeah, he's not accurate enough. He's got to be more accurate. So we'll see.
We'll see how good a coach. We'll see how good those coaches are up in New England this year because I don't see a lot of talent on that roster, especially with an offensive standpoint. Cam Newton helps that because he is a talented athlete. I cannot take that away from him, but I don't see many good receivers up there. I don't know what happened to Sony Michel last year. James White is a gadget guy. They don't have the tight ends that they used to have.
Do they still have Hogan?
And Gronk.
Do they still have Hogan?
I guess so. I'd have to look it up.
I mean, they've still got
on their team or not. But, I mean, Chris Hogan, he's not.
But it just seems like Bill always finds these guys. That's the thing. And, you just wonder if he's got –
I'm saying they didn't last year. They caught lightning in the bottle with their defense, and their defense was just ridiculous for about 8 games last year.
But then the Titans exposed them. They just ran the ball down their throats. That was a game.
Yeah, because the Patriots defense peaked in about week 8 or week 10 last year.
Yeah, they didn't play as well. The main
and down the stretch, they weren't what they needed to be a contender.
Well, I think part of it was that they were on the field too long because their offense wasn't good. They didn't score enough. But that was the main problem. And let's be honest, the Tennessee Titans just pushed them around. I mean, they basically knocked them backwards and. There was no answer for Henry. Henry just ran the ball down their throats, and they couldn't do anything to stop him. They even tried when they put 8 guys on the line of scrimmage. The Titans said, "Oh yeah," and then they ran them again, and they just kept running them, and they couldn't stop them. They were on the field the whole game. The Patriots defense, and they had no shot in that game. And the game ended ugly for New England on that interception on the pick 6. it's hard to believe that Brady ends his career in New England with a pick six, but that's how it ended.
Bill plays chess. All the other coaches play checkers. I mean, yeah, on the defensive standpoint,
Oh, we'll see.
I mean, he's going to triple option Cam. That's also from Parker. I mean, that's a good idea to run the option in the NFL with an injury-prone quarterback with the injury history that Cam Newton had.
Yeah,
I mean, who knows what they're going to do up there in New England?
That's I don't know.
They fall flat in their face because I'm not a Cam Newton fan after he didn't jump on that ball in the Super Bowl. And, I've always respected the Patriots because of Brady, but Brady's down in Tampa right now. So I have no skin in the game in New England. I don't really care about him. I think it's time for them to get their teeth knocked in a little bit by the rest of the AFC East.
What kind of foot speed does Cam Newton bring to the table now? That's really the question.
Sure, he's still fast. Look, I'm sure the Patriots worked him out and whatnot.
I know. I hear you, Rob.
During this pandemic.
How fast is he now? Can he really, can he really hurt you? That's the thing.
I'm sure he can hurt you.
Can he gash you?
I would guess. Yeah.
Can he gash you in the running game? Can he, as you said, can he throw the slant down? That's going to be
That's more of a question than him being able to gash you on the ground. I think Cam Newton could have 100 yards rushing any given week. Still.
You still think he can do that anymore? I don't know.
Yeah. The guy's a super athlete.
I mean, listen, I like what Mike Parker says. I agree. I do hope they stink. I can't stand New England. I don't think anybody who doesn't live in New England can't stand New England at this point. And we're all hoping they fall flat on their face. But I have a feeling that they're still going to have something to say this year in the AFC East if they play. So we'll see about that.
So Cam Newton, he's on the Patriots. Brandon Brooks still out for the year.
The Eagles haven't replaced him yet, but there's still a ways to go.
We'll see how the COVID and the stuff
exactly
plays. But Brad, what we do have is we finally have a baseball agreement to play. They're going to play 60 games. I'm really looking forward to it. I know I said I was out on a lot, but as the agreement has kind of fermented in my head here, I'm starting to get excited to see some baseball.
Yeah, well, I have to admit when they're talking about the first Sunday night game is going to be Scherzer against Cole. I mean, you have to want it. You can't. I mean, if you're a Yankee fan, you can't wait to see that matchup.
Is that the open? So there's a schedule and everything out.
Well, the opening. Everybody knows who their opening games are going to be against.
Okay, I don't even know who the Phillies are. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, the Yankees are going to be playing in Nationals Park.
I saw that actually. Now the
first game, and they're all saying first game is going to be Cole against Scherzer. That's going to be a fun game. I can't wait to see that. Yankees made an interesting little signing this week, picking up Mac Duffy.
Yeah, that's
I saw that.
You have extended. They're going to have extended rosters.
Yeah, but I always like
guys are going to get COVID and miss time.
Well, a lot of people are going to get. Or a lot of people. Listen, there's going to be a lot of injuries too. Don't kid yourself, because a lot of these guys probably haven't been working out the way they should either.
And
you could sit here and tell me they are, but the gyms aren't open, so I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. But that Matt Duffy, I was shocked that the Yankees were able to get a guy like that. He was a pretty darn good little hitter for Tampa Bay. He's nice insurance for the Yankees. If Gio Urshela gets hurt, then they won't be forced to put Andujar in there and have to watch him try to play third base. Question with the Yankees:
I don't know.
Who's going to play left field? That's a big controversy in the Bronx right now. Brett Gardner, Stanton, or Tauchman. That's or Clint Frazier. I mean,
well, you have the DH too.
Yeah, I know, but you have two players there that are DHs in Stanton and Andujar. So
Andujar is the bugaboo. Yeah,
Andujar can hit. it's kind of hard to ignore him. Ignore what he did.
You got to put Stanton left then.
Yeah, but he's
going to be ready for the start of this, or is he going to miss time?
Oh no, he's healthy, but I mean, he's such a clod, though. He's such a klutz. You think he's going to get hurt playing in the outfield again? I mean, I'm just worried that
he's the only natural center fielder you got.
Oh, Aaron Hicks is back.
That's what I said, Hicks.
Yeah, Hicks is going to play center.
Yeah,
you got Hicks and Judge are going to be playing. So you got those guys in the Judge is taking batting practice now. So, I mean, it appears
that you got to put Stanton in left then.
Yeah, and have Andujar DH, I would think. But then you still have Brett Gardner too. So what do you have? Stanton play, and then Gardner comes in to caddy for him.
You have Voit still at first,
right? And then you have Ford to come off the bench in case.
I guess maybe you can experiment with Andujar at first if
they've already tried that. He wasn't bad. That's another possibility as well. I mean,
Voit was really good.
He was really good. I mean, if you think about it, he only played like 90 games and he had 25, 26 home runs last year. And the year before that, he had half a season and he had like 16 or 17 home runs. I mean, he's a solid player. I mean, it's a strange situation. They have all these guys that deserve to play. So we'll see. The pitching looks pretty strong. Especially 1, 2, and 3, they can go with anybody at this point. You look at Cole, Paxton, and Tanaka. That's a pretty good 1, 2, 3 punch.
Yeah, I mean, Mike Parker. It's like baseball. It's like playoff baseball, shortened season, but it's going to be weird with no fans. Everyone, pitchers and players, should be ready for 100%, 110% of all. Let's see some good baseball.
Hope so.
The problem with the new format is the Phillies. The East, all the East teams in general really got the short end of the stick because the Phillies, who are, let's face it, kind of a marginal team, they have their weaknesses. They have some strengths, but they certainly have some weaknesses as well. They're going to have to play the Blue Jays, the Rays, the Yankees, the Red Sox, plus all the good teams in the NL East. I think it's going to be tough sledding for the Phillies. I mean, they're going to really have to score a lot of runs.
It's not going to be, it's going to be tough for them. It's not. They have a lot of good teams they're going to have to play against, no question. Although I don't know about the Red Sox. I don't know how good the Red Sox are going to be, quite honestly. I mean,
yeah, but they're the same type of team as the Phillies, no?
Yeah, but they also don't have Mookie Betts in the lineup either, though.
I get that.
I mean, that's a.
Do you think the Red Sox are better than the Phillies? Or do you think the Phillies are better than the Red Sox? What do you?
Sale isn't pitching this year, is he?
No, he did Tommy John, didn't he?
Okay. Yeah, he did.
Another thing, I had to read up on all this stuff.
Sale's gone. Price is gone. Porcello is gone. So I guess their top pitcher this year is going to be Rodriguez, right?
Yeah,
Rodriguez.
He's pretty good, but
yeah, and then Nasty Nady Evaldi is going to be the second pitcher. But who fills out the staff there?
I guess the Phillies are better than the Red Sox.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Phillies have better pitching than the Red Sox.
Nola and Wheeler. That's not bad.
Yeah, Mike Parker says Sale is. Yeah, I don't think Sale's pitching this year. If I remember correctly, he's out this year. I mean, no Porcello, no Price, no Sale, no Mookie Betts. I mean, how good is that team really going to be?
Well, I mean,
they'll hit the ball.
I still think they score runs. No.
Yeah, they'll hit, no question. Even without
Evers and Bogarts and Benintendi, if he can figure it out.
Listen.
Verdugo is a good-looking player.
Yeah, he is. He's not Betts.
No, he's not. You're right. He's not Mookie Betts, but I can't believe they traded Mookie Betts like that. Like what? Jeez, oh man.
They can't afford him. The Red Sox went. Remember 2 years ago when I said?
Yeah, I remember. Then they bought a championship.
They did, and they won a championship. But I told you they were going to pay for that down the line. And, the Roosters are coming home to roost. They had a choice, either pay Bogarts or pay Betts. Okay? They picked Bogarts.
That might be the right choice in the long run. Honestly.
What would you rather have, a superstar shortstop or a superstar outfielder? I'm going with the shortstop. Sorry.
It's true.
Shortstop's the most important position on the field defensively. I mean, you have a great defensive shortstop who can hit 310, 320, and hit 25 to 30 home runs.
Bogarts really is. He really is something special.
Terrific. Listen, I hate the Red Sox, but you got to show some respect there. That guy is a real good player. I mean, they still have him, and they still have JD Martinez. They still have Benintendi. They're going to have Verdugo. They're still going to hit the ball. No question about that.
You have an early World. Well, you're going to pick the Yankees for an early World Series pick.
Well, I mean, you're going to say I'm going out on the limb picking the Yankees and the Dodgers, but I just can't see who's going to beat them. These two teams.
I like Oakland.
If the Yankees have to play Oakland,
if you're looking at like betting and like looking at the factoring in the odds in it, because like there's no money in betting on the Yankees and the Dodgers. They're strong, loaded rosters. Tampa
Bay almost beat Houston last year. I mean, they came awfully close.
I get it, but I mean, I see Oakland at 25-1 with that offense and that bullpen.
Yeah, and Manaea is going to be back this year. They'll have him ready to go.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
Montez. Everyone forgets Frankie Montez got suspended during a career year for PED use.
Yeah, but he's going to be back this year.
He's back. Is he going to
be back this year, or is it next year? Is he going to be back this year?
No. He can play.
Oh, he can. Okay, yeah, because I know the Yankees
pitched.
He was
eligible to pitch. He pitched at the end of last season, if I remember correctly, but he wasn't allowed to pitch in the playoffs because he got suspended for PEDs.
Okay, got you. Okay, all right. So he'll be back. Yeah, Herman is gone for this year, so there won't be any Domingo Herman for the Yankees.
Now, he got arrested or he got hurt?
No, he got domestic abuse.
And they kicked him out for the whole year?
They suspended him for 81 games, and he got –
Okay, so there's only 60 games this year.
Well, he served 18 games last year, so he's got to serve 63 games this year. So, I mean, that would be 60 games plus 3 playoff games. So, I mean, I don't know if he's not allowed to play in the playoffs or not. I don't know. I don't know how that works. I know that no matter what the deal is, he'll be able to play next season. He's not going to have to miss any time next season. But if he has 63 games left, I guess they could use him in the playoffs if they get there for a game 4. But I mean, if he hasn't pitched all season, what good does it do?
Parker, Cutchin, Gregorius, Hoskins, Harper, Realmuto, Segura, Kingery. I'm spacing on the 8th guy. Segura has – who is the 8th guy?
Center fielder. That speedy center fielder you have.
Adam Hazley. I want to see Adam Hazley play every day in center field.
Thank you. That's the guy I was talking about.
I want to see –
I
want to see Hazley in center field every day. I want to see what we got. It's a shortened season. You figure it out in 60 games. If not, you got to go back to the drawing board for center field. And then, I don't know. You can DH Kutch, I guess. You can DH Jay Bruce.
Having a DH for the Phillies, that's a good thing because you have 2 guys that can DH. You could put McCutchen in. When
Hoskins could DH, he stinks in the field.
You could put Bruce in. You could put Bruce as a DH too.
Yeah, and Bruce can play first, and
you could also let Hoskins DH too when you want to rest him, and let Bruce play first because Bruce is a good first baseman, always has been.
Yeah, Jay Bruce, good little bench player. I think he's gonna be a good little bench player for the Phillies. He was traded for him, and
especially in the National League. Yeah, I mean, in a league where you can play DH. You know,
And I love Didi. I love the Gregorius signing.
Yeah, well, Didi, we all love Didi here. So I mean, listen, you got a good player there. You know, I don't think he's over the hill. I mean, he had a pretty serious injury. He came back and he played pretty darn well in the field. His average went down a little bit because he had a really bad slump the last 2 weeks of the season. So his average went down to 238, but he hit like crazy against the Twins. You know, he basically carried them against the Twins. So I mean, in the playoffs, there's no reason why he can't come back and be a big time player. And you know, left field in Philly is a place where Didi can reach. He doesn't have to hit the ball 399 feet to hit a home run to left field like he did in Yankee Stadium. So instead of just hitting home runs to right field, he'll hit home runs to left field too in Philly. So I'm expecting a big year out of him. You know, in 60 games, there's no reason why I can't see him hitting between 15 and 20 home runs this year.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of home runs in 60 games.
I know, but you know what though? I could see that happening though.
Like, who's going to lead the league in home runs, and like how many home runs are they going to have?
You know what?
I could get to 30 bombs, right?
I could see in the American League, maybe Stanton or Judge.
You think they can get to 30 home runs? That's ridiculous, right?
I could see Stanton or Judge hitting 30 home runs if they stay healthy. I mean, why not?
I guess.
I mean, those guys. Trout too. He's another one. Problem for Trout is Trout doesn't play on a wimpy field. You know, California, or I should say, that Anaheim ballpark is not an easy place to hit home runs.
No, he doesn't seem to have a problem doing it.
No, but I'm just saying you're not going to get cheap home runs in Anaheim. You know, it's not like Yankee Stadium in right field. You know, you've got to hit the ball pretty hard there.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, we'll have a full baseball preview coming up. Try and land a guest for that. Thank you, Brian Propp, for coming on tonight. Check out his website, brianpropp.com. Get some cigars. Check out the events he does for his Bancroft and commercial real estate.
Yeah, I was going to say, listen, what could be better than shopping for real estate with Brian Propp? I mean, that'd be pretty fun to do. Give him a call if you're looking for commercial real estate, folks. He'd make it a lot of fun.
Thank you to our listeners. Thanks to everyone who liked, shared, and commented on tonight's show. Frank, as always, great job producing. He's Brad Ryer. I'm Rob Brinkman. Until next Monday, peace.